My name is Stephanie Garneau, and I'm going to analyze the way supermarkets manipulate consumers. This topic is discussed in Aisle 1 of the Supermarket Tour. They outline several factors supermarkets use to make us spend more money. I'm going to focus on the ways the produce section manipulates us. Let's take a stroll through Metro. The first section I see is the produce section. Why is that? The Supermarket Tour claims it is because consumers tend to spend more money at the start of their shopping trip. What I don't agree with is not everyone is an impulse buyer. Some people will come to supermarkets with a list and stick to it. If fresh produce isn't on their list, chances are they are going to the aisle they intend to buy from. But what if there was a sale or deal? Now that may change things. I noticed several reduced items such as mushrooms, prepackaged apples, or avocados or mangoes for $3 for $5. In addition, Metro had a bakery cart filled with reduced produce. Price reductions compel customers to spend more money by thinking they are saving money. Produce is arranged in a strategic way that influences customers' purchasing patterns. All produce that is not in the refrigerated section is slightly below eye level on displays and tables. This makes it easy to see and reach. I also counted 16 different end-of-aisle displays in the produce section alone. The produce section manipulates consumers by creating an inviting atmosphere. Metro welcomes you with wholesome and visually appealing pictures on the walls and through the produce displayed neatly and abundantly. During my tour, I didn't see any produce with bruises or blemishes. Seeing the abundance of fresh food made me feel connected to farmers. It made me think of supermarkets supporting farmers. Is this another form of manipulation? This raises several questions. Where does our food come from? How much of our food is local? How far does food travel? How fresh is our food? How is a certain type of food produced? What trade barriers might food face? Are farmers properly compensated? I read the labels of the produce and found that most of our food is imported. Coconuts from the Dominican Republic, cantaloupes from Honduras, kiwis from Italy, watermelons from Mexico. The list goes on. We can ask two questions. Is there an abundance of imported food in Ontario because it is the winter time? Or do we rely on imported food? Or both? Imported food may manipulate customers because it creates a sense of diversity and inclusion. One may think supermarkets are supporting foreign farmers, especially from developing nations if they see product of Guatemala. Are these products fair trade? If they aren't, what are these farmers making? For every dollar sold, how much do farmers get? When buying imported produce, we may think that we are supporting farmers, but we actually aren't if farmers are not being compensated fairly. The Supermarket Tour states that the choices we make about the food we buy affects people around the world. This is shocking because purchasing a bundle of bananas affects the entire supply chain, especially the farmers. The Supermarket Tour concludes that producers of bananas receive 5 cents for every dollar sold. This is also shocking because the amount of labor that goes into producing bananas does not equate to that amount. I also found lettuce bunches cut in half. Wow, so convenient. Or is it? Was the lettuce cut in half because it was going bad? This in a way can be a form of manipulation into thinking customers are being provided fresh and untampered food. CBC Marketplace researched that supermarkets tamper with best before dates or the freshness of meats and desserts by rewrapping or repackaging a product to extend its shelf life. Do they do this to produce too? Is that why they only sold one half of the lettuce? Is that why they sell pre-cut fruits and vegetables? In terms of advertising and packaging, the words used on produce, packaging, and signage are selling points used to captivate and persuade customers to buy their products. Words like organic, 100% natural goodness, GMO-free, fresh, sustainable, etc. In terms of canned fruits and vegetables, the word fancy grade can manipulate customers. Do they even know what that means? The Canadian Food Inspection Agency claims it is for imported products sold in their original container. But for customers who don't know this may interpret fancy for quality. Michael Pollan, the author of The Omnivore's Dilemma, states that these words are rich narratives that tell stories of how we think our food is produced. By seeing the word organic, we think our food is more wholesome and natural because it is not produced with pesticides. Can we trust this label? Which certification stamp is the best? Will the organic certification label give us assurance? Did we do our research? I did some research and found that certified organic can mean anything from as little as 10% of ingredients being organic to as high as 95% of ingredients. Customers may not know this and think the organic banana they are buying is 95% organic when it may actually only be 20%. Fresh cut salads, fresh cut fruit, fresh mushrooms. The word fresh is a selling point because who wouldn't want something that isn't? This ties back to the previous point. How fresh is pre-cut fruits and vegetables? Are fruit and veggie trays made from fruits and veggies that were going bad? If customers don't know this, it can be another form of manipulation where the word fresh is deceiving the consumers. Now that we have finished our supermarket tour, let's reflect on what we've learned. I came to Metro because it is the local supermarket in Port Union. It is the closest supermarket to where I live. I chose to analyze and critique the produce section because when I go to the supermarket, the majority of the things I buy are from there, so I want to gain a better understanding of why the produce section is the way it is. What surprised me most about reading the supermarket tour was that without realizing, supermarkets are intentionally designed to manipulate customers. This is shocking because a lot of customers may not be aware of these factors and may fall into their trap. Prior to this project, I was unaware of all the ways supermarkets influence our buying decisions. It was one thing to read the ways in which supermarkets manipulate us, but it was even more shocking when I saw it in person. And this is what surprised me most. The majority of what the supermarket tour stated in aisle 1 was accurate. As previously mentioned, I disagreed with the statement that customers are more likely to spend more money at the beginning of their shopping trip. I think this because if shoppers have a list, they will follow it. Impulse decisions are largely due to sales or promotions, not just because they are located near the entrance. If there are great deals, I believe that's why people buy things not on their list. My expectations before entering Metro was to only find a few things to be critical about, but these expectations changed when I realized that the majority of what is in supermarkets can be questioned and critically thought about. Although this video and tour focused on the way supermarkets manipulate us, it is wrong to say supermarkets are bad. I believe the supermarket tour is biased because the Ontario Public Interest Research Group conducted this tour. Their mission is to pursue social justice and environmental activism. That being said, their ideology entails them to be critical of supermarkets to get people thinking and compelled to take action. From this experience, I learned that when I do grocery shopping, I do not critically look at the labels on food, and I'm sure most people don't. I learned that I'm guilty of being manipulated by supermarkets. I fall into the trap of sales and promotions, produce displays, and advertising. For example, when I see a sign that says, mangoes, 3 for $5, I am compelled to buy the mangoes. Or when I see the word organic, I also fall into the trap of creating a positive narrative without questioning the narrative that might actually surround organic products. My future shopping trips will be altered because I now realize the importance of doing research and not believing everything you see. I am now a more critical thinker thanks to the supermarket tour.